All right, Mr. Gilman, are you there?
I am here.
Excellent, excellent. All right, team, we are going to get rolling. Welcome everybody to this session talking about Browning rifles, specifically X-bolts, BARs, and we all wish we could be at the gun fair right now and enjoying each other's company and kicking off and shooting these guns hot on the range and having some fun. But given the situation, this is a smart, safe way to do it. So we're blessed to have Chris Gilman with his decades of experience from Browning here, ready to talk rifles. Aaron Sheldon from Reeds, and you know, a bunch of us are interested and want to know what all the deals mean that were in the flyer that went out, and we'll be talking through that and Browning rebates and how that's all going to flow through. And I think the most important thing is just to lay out some housekeeping items for this. We're going to kind of focus this session to around 30 minutes or so of airtime. There will be Q&A at the end of this, but during the actual session, this is just everybody kind of operating, I would say, informally and getting used to Zoom. We're going to have all the attendees on mute, and just Chris and Aaron will be talking back and forth. So certainly use your chat function if you have questions while they're talking, and we'll kind of operate as a moderator and kind of dialogue back and forth. So you might hear us jump in with and address questions. If we don't get to all the chats throughout the session, some are privately sent to us. We can follow up with y'all at the end of it or tomorrow, as the case may be, through the phone or through email as well. So kind of without further ado, I think we should get started. There's a lot of ground you guys want to cover. And a lot of good things to talk about. I mean, the best way to think about this is if you walked into the Browning rifle area at the gun fair, you would have seen Gil's smiling face there. He's the best in the business. They're talking rifles. But before we get into what would have been the stack of this and deal on that, that I know Aaron and Gil are going to talk about with guns as well. Gil, what are you seeing out there as an industry with what's going on with rifles? Are there rifles available? I mean, with everything going out there with the COVID-19, are we going to see a slowdown come fall? I mean, what's the general flow and tenor at Browning when we start talking X-bolts and BARs for the rest of the season?
Well, you know, Adam, honestly, the X-bolts, we've had more demand than we could produce, actually. So we haven't really caught up with demand on the X-bolts even last year when we were 100% up to speed. So there usually is come fall. They're not like in stock at Browning. So you know, retailers like yourself that have a tremendous selection really kind of reap the rewards because, you know, but it depends on the factory. Our guns coming out of Morocco and Japan, and most of our guns are relatively unaffected. Some of our semi-auto shotguns will be. Those plants are shut down right now, like in Vienna, and so we'll see some gun deliveries will be a little tough in the fall. But you know, that being said, you know, looking at your inventory, I've never seen you with this many BARs in stock. Those have been a shortage of BARs for years, and for you guys to have that many is incredible.
Well, we were hoping to have them for the gun fair, right? So
yes.
It kind of landed, and here we are. So I think without further ado, we should probably let Aaron kind of kick off what we would have seen. You mentioned, you know, BARs and X-bolts, good inventory on hand, but I know that there's specials planned, and we want everybody know those, and then you can kind of take us where you guys want to go with the conversation. So jump on in.
Thanks for your help, Gil.
Yeah.
This part, we appreciate it. We'd have been in stocking caps and gloves, I think, at Rice Creek this year.
Yep.
Still more fun than the computer, but this is what we get.
Right.
So here's what I was thinking. Looking at a few questions prior, and then prior experience with customers on the floor on the rifle. I know years ago when Browning released the X-bolt, an X-bolt was an X-bolt. You either got a synthetic stock or a wood stock or stainless or not. That is hardly true today. So I have a number of customers that come in and say, hey, Aaron, what's the difference between a regular X-bolt and a Hell's Canyon?
Sure.
And then I have them come in and say, hey, Aaron, I want a Hell's Canyon and a 30-06. When I ask them which Hell's Canyon, it doesn't really hit them that there's about 4 or 5 models and 3 major models.
Yeah.
So I think maybe we could hit some tops of the waves on, hey, what's the difference between a regulation X-bolt and a Hell's Canyon? And then once we get that kind of laid out, we can jump into speed, long range, and Mcmillan.
Yeah. You know, first off, and I was looking at the questions also, and if I could take just a few minutes, because there's some features that the X-bolt has that, well, let's talk about the X-bolt in general.
Yeah,
so I can go over some of the selling features. Most questions are about the X-bolt. And then we can talk about the differences between each model, if that works for you.
That works awesome, man.
Right,
let's get into the features.
You know, the X-bolt itself, it's actually an incredible rifle. Okay, bolt action rifle, and you know we were doing so well with its predecessor, the A-bolts, that when they brought out the X-bolt and I was sitting at the sales meeting, I was like, what could they possibly do better? And boy, I started from the recoil pad and went all the way to the front of the gun. So I'm just going to go through the X-bolt, you know, in a little bit detail, and then we'll look at the configurations. But starting from the recoil pad, it's an influx recoil pad. So it's actually hollow on the inside and it's vented. So when the gun kicks, it actually stays straight. It doesn't want to come up and hit you in the cheek or give you a scope eye. So it's a very good recoil pad. Added a palm swell, so there's a nice palm swell on our gun. It still has a 60-degree throw. So what that means is when you're opening your rifle, you aren't hitting your hand on the scope. So it's a short throw, a little quicker to cycle the action. So it's got the 60-degree bolt right to the mounts here. So there's 4 screws in each mount versus 2 in the old A-bolt. So even a more robust mount, if you will. With any gun, if you're going to accurize a firearm, you know, if I give you a standard gun off the rack and you take it to a gunsmith, one of the things they're going to do is they're going to glass bed it. You know, they want it really a very good glass bedding back here so you can free float your barrel. And what that does is if your barrel heats up, it won't touch the stock and change your accuracy downrange. What happens is if you have a gun that you shoot a few rounds and then all of a sudden it starts a ladder effect. It might be starting off to one side, down or up, but that means the barrel's heating up and it's changing your point of impact. And what happens then is you actually correct back to the bullseye, correct back to 0, and you think you're sighted in, you put your gun away, it cools down, and now you're off. So free floating the barrel, it's easy to.
It's important to note.
I'm sorry?
Note that the Browning on all the X-bolts is skin bedding that front lug, whether you get the most basic stalker or a Pro Series. They've done that on all the models. But carry on.
Free floated barrel, recessed target crown. If you ding the end of the barrel, it's not going to affect your accuracy. But the #1 feature, and I'm just going to spend a little bit, well, I shouldn't say that. They narrowed out the clip. It's a center feed clip. We have a patent on this. So when you narrow your clip design, it actually allows you to make the gun thinner and lower profile. So it lightens up the gun, a little nicer to carry. So right from the recoil pad to the clip to the 60-degree throw at the free-floated barrel, recessed target crown, but the very biggest thing really is a 3-piece trigger, or I'm sorry, a 3-lever trigger, if you will. We call it the feather trigger. If you go online, there's some good videos, and after watching the video, you'll be completely convinced. But I brought a little diagram, and basically what it is if you pull a trigger, because of the lever system, just a little bit, it moves the steer back. There's no creep and no over travel. It's just super, super crisp. And it's the best trigger, I believe, on the market, certainly in my opinion. Watch the videos and judge for yourself. But when you go into even the store, you obviously you can make sure it's unloaded, you know, and everything else, no clip in there. But when you pull that trigger, it's just amazing. When you want that gun to go off, it goes off. So those are the basic features of the X-bolt. I believe it's the finest production market gun on the, you know, production gun, bolt action gun on the market, you know.
Right, and again, all the features he just hit on are on every X-bolt out there, from the base model to a Pro model, and everything in between.
So
let's just step right into this Hell's Canyon discussion, because it's been a hot one as of lately. When somebody's asking for a Hell's Canyon, there are 3 major models that we deal with on top of some limited production stuff that I'm anticipating getting. Speed, Hell's Canyon Speed.
Yep. Yeah, so Speed.
Hell's Canyon Long Range.
Okay, I'm sorry.
And the Mcmillan.
Right.
Let's start with the lightest one and the Speed, Chris, and go through those 3, if you would.
So we went to a Speed, and people are really liking the tricked out features and spending the extra money a lot of times to go up to the Speed. One of the most important things on the Speed is Cerakote. And, you know, actually, if you look it up, it's a Cerakote. This is a burnt bronze finished Cerakote. We actually even have a little bit of a tungsten version. But if you look it up, if you do like a salt test with a stainless steel rifle or a stainless steel rifle, it starts rusting in about 24 hours. With a Cerakote rifle, it's basically 2,034 hours. So it's like 84 times more rust resistant than stainless steel. So that Cerakote finish is really an upgrade, you know. Also on the Speed gun, you've got a fluted barrel. nice. It eliminates a little weight, but it also cools down your barrel a little faster. If you're shooting on the range, makes a big difference. We do have the porting in there, the muzzle brake system. You can throw a thread protectors on there. It comes standard with the gun, but boy, reducing that recoil is a big deal, especially on the range when you have muffs on. So the speed version, you're getting Cerakote, you're getting the fluted barrel, and you're getting the muzzle brake. And it's lightweight, so you're looking at a slightly lighter gun. I think this one's 6 pounds, 7 ounces, for the standard calibers. So you're looking at a lighter rifle.
Yep, absolutely. So from that, let's go from the speed now to the Hell's Canyon long range.
Yeah, so the Hell's Canyon long range, that's simply basically the exact same thing. You're getting a little heavier barrel contour. You're picking up about 8 to 10 ounces. And then of course, that's really basically it. You're getting a heavy contour barrel, a little heavier, a longer barrel. I think it's a 26-inch barrel on the long range.
Yep.
So that's increasing possibly your velocities. The long range shooters kind of like that longer barrel. So more robust barrel, less barrel whip, if you will, a little heavier gun, more steady with a heavier gun, and a little longer barrel.
Perfect.
Hey, Aaron, Gil, before you go to the next one, real quick, there was a question from one of the viewers about comparing that long range in your hand to a Vanguard First Light Edition. I don't know if you know the ins and outs of some of those, but maybe just on principle, if you could do a quick comparison, that was a good question that came across.
I guess, obviously I'm a salesman, Browning salesman. First thing I would is I'd look at the video on the triggers. That 3-lever trigger, there's nothing better. When you understand it and you just look it up and listen to it, feel it in the store, I would compare the triggers first, which triggers are probably the most important thing when it comes to accuracy. The other thing on ours, you can unload it while it's on safety. Okay, so the gun's on safety right now. There's a bolt release button. So perfectly safe, you can unload this gun while it's on safety without putting on fire. I guess I believe ours would be thinner because of our clip system. So that makes it a little bit lower profile both ways. I would definitely look at them side by side and be the judge for yourself. That recessed target crown, the better recoil pad, I'm going to put this gun up against anyone's.
Yep.
Very good. Thanks, Gil.
Carry on. All right, but carrying on with the Hell's Canyon, my favorite, and there's an adjustable version coming, which I'm super excited about. Dusty, if you're out there, I have the part number in and your name ready. As soon as I get one, I'm going to call you and let you know it's here. That is the Mcmillan, and I've had all of these on the range, and after firing this one, this has definitely got my attention. Dusty, a few extra features on this one. Go ahead and hit them.
Yeah, so you're paying a lot for that Mcmillan stock, and what it offers is basically steel underneath. It's a very, very positive stock that does not flex. Mcmillan is known for its stock. This stock is a little different. When you're long range shooting, instead of gripping the back of the gun, you actually should put your thumb up on the gun, so you're not torquing it in any way when you pull the trigger. So the design itself has kind of a palm swell here. So it's designed to rest your thumb on the top of the firearm there, just to ensure accuracy, make the trigger pull perfect every time. So, basically the Mcmillan is an upgraded stock. They make tremendous equipment there. That's about it. Other than that, the barrel contours and everything are exactly the same.
Yep. But after firing both, if you guys get the opportunity, or go ahead and take my word for it, the recoil characteristics on the Mcmillan as you're on your mags working with either of these rifles, you'll notice immediately the Mcmillan's lack of recoil to your shoulder and the muzzle lift, the way it tracks that recoil and as stiff as the stock is. So I know that took my learning curve to shoot out past that 600-yard marker and shrunk it greatly compared to lighter models with more standard stock. So that's been one of my favorites for sure.
And that is going to be a little bit heavier rifle on top of it too, Aaron.
Yep. So anybody you're looking for the 300 Win Mags, the 300 PRCs, the Ultra Mags, and you want a gun that's a little easier to handle on the bags and tracks a little straighter, take a hard look at the Hell's Canyon Mcmillan, or there's one in his hands coming up here with the Max, would also be a good one. Go ahead.
Yeah, so the Max, so, not everyone wants to spend the extra big dollars on the Mcmillan stock, so we
Understood.
actually brought out our own target stock, if you will, and we added a feature to it, which is really incredible. And Aaron, you've done a lot of shooting, a lot of training out on ranges, and it's funny how you can sight in a rifle just perfect to your eye, and then the next person comes down and shoots it, and they get that good group, but it might be not exactly where your group was. And that's because their eye isn't perfectly centered in back of the scope. So with a Max here, not only is it super affordable, but it also has an adjustable cheek piece. So you can, depending on if you have a thick face or a thin face or how big along a neck you have, you can actually adjust this to make sure, you might have a real large bell on there or high rings versus low. You can have perfect target alignment right in the center of the scope. So, and also, it comes with some other tricked out stuff, bipod and a swivel and a sling swivel up front. You can put a Picatinny rail up here. It's just a real inexpensive accessory.
Yep.
Some people are going that route. Back here, it's designed, a lot of times when you're shooting on the range, all you have is your hand or your thumb on top of the rifle here with your hand, your trigger ready to pull. But back here, you actually squeeze your pad to get it just perfect. So the way we designed the back of this pad is really ingenious, or actually the back of the stock. So this is called the X-Bolt Max. And if you're into long range shooting, but you don't want to spend that extra money on the Mcmillan, boy, this thing's incredible.
Yep. One of your product managers took a little extra time with me at SHOT Show and showed me how that was built. I look forward to one of your fine samples coming this direction so I can warm up the barrel a little when the gun range is open back up. I would like some time with that. So
yeah,
let's real quick jump to this.
1,000 yard shooting with him, and
one of the Rice Creek specials that would have been on the stacks that you and I would have been hammering away at is that Hell's Canyon long range 300 Win Mag, running that at 1,034 right now.
Oh.
And I've got some special accessory offers at the end of this deal that I'm going to pitch to you guys for everybody that makes it to the end of this Zoom video, should you make it to the end.
Yeah, and let's not forget, Aaron, Browning is paying the sales tax. It's short-lived promotion, but extra 8% rebate. They're going to go ahead and handle their sales tax through Sunday. So if you do buy
so as long as I can get that receipt, guys, we pound the receipt same day as the order. We'll be good. We'll be able to get you that sales tax back.
Appreciate that.
Instigators. Well, let's roll right on, buddy. I know I was excited to see this come out in 2009. That is the BAR Mark III.
Yeah.
If you want to run through some features for any of you old school Browning fans who have had a Safari or dad had a Safari, this would be its the newer version.
Yeah, you bet. And it's kind of funny. Browning, John Moses Browning, one of the the best gun designer ever lived. He started with a Browning automatic rifle back in like 1914. That's why we aren't speaking German right now. It really helped us win World War I and World War II, and the first production, first production BAR came out in 1968. That was, your traditional Safari BAR, shot modern calibers, Magnum calibers, even 300 Win Mag and 7 Mag and things like that. Part of the reason is it's got it's got 7 locking lugs up here. So that actually locks that shell into place, and it's very, very rigid. So it seats that shell so perfect. Accuracy is incredible. I personally shoot a semi-auto rifle. I always have, and I've never been disappointed. I do have a couple long-range guns also, but when I hunt, I still use my BARs. And so what they've done over the years, and they make basically 4 versions, and they really tricked it out. When they went to the Mark III, they went to an alloy receiver that's just gorgeous. You've got the high relief engraving with some gold embellishing here. You still have the classic walnut wood with cut checkering. The checkering design's slightly different. But what they did is they improved a few things. The bolt release has been improved, and you can drop your trigger group out. If you dropped it in the creek or you've been at deer camp for a long time, it's never a bad idea to pull your trigger group and make sure it's perfectly clean, knock the ice out of it, do what you have to do. So now and then you'll even, that's really important in case you got a stick jammed in there or dirt got in through your slide here somehow. Being able to fix it in the field is really, really nice. But boy, is that this, it's lighter weight also. So you're looking like on a, I think this gun is 6 pounds. Wait, I'm sorry, it's 7 pounds, 8 ounces for the walnut. Well, it's lightweight. If you, the traditional gun, Safari, which you guys still have, and you have Boss guns in stock, I know that.
Yep.
Some people like the gloss finish, the traditional look with a steel receiver. Some people think that steel receiver is more rigid and it'll be more accurate. Not sure I bite into that, but it is the traditional, beautiful Browning. You know, they're made in Belgium, assembled in Portugal, because that's where they get their wood, but they always have been. You'll find a lot of the older guys like me that say, I still got one of those good Brownies that was made in Belgium. And I kind of smile and say, hey, that's awesome. Never tell them, but they always have been made in Belgium, and they still are, you know. So, but it's a gorgeous, gorgeous rifle. The other couple, which you have a pile of, is you have a version that's a speed, you know, it's a SHOT Show special. Now it's in line. You've got a pile of them. And what they did is they, you know, the Hell's Canyon speed guns were doing so well. They brought out a BAR with a fluted barrel. It's got the cool latex camo on it. It's slightly lighter weight. It's in, you know, that gun is awesome. That, I think with the speed guns, 7 pounds, 3 ounces with the Cerakote finish, you know, 84 times more rust resistant than stainless steel. That gun is awesome.
We're going to go through a pile of these. At the moment, on the stacks at Rice Creek, you would have picked up the nickel walnut at $1,079 down there. Pretty darn good deal. And the speed, the $1,500 deal was $1,331.
That's crazy.
So we're certainly extending those prices to all our listeners right now for sure.
Gil, I'll pop in here real quick. There's a question on the BIRs just popped up, and you might have answered it by whipping out that camel, but why so many options in wood versus camo in the BARs? And are there any more new camos coming out this year was one of the questions.
Yeah, I mean, besides that, there is, besides the AU pattern on the speed gun, we do have a mossy oak breakup country. You know, some people just like camo. Some people like the ATEX look, where it's more like a digitized look, but it blends in really well. It's not digitized. It's actually a computer, a logarithm developed that camo. Some people like the leaf and limb finish, you know, like that mossy oak breakup country. We even do have, and you guys, I noticed had 22 of these in stock. We actually do have a 4th version. This is a BAR DBM, Dropbox magazine. This gun actually has 10 shells, you know, so if you're a real poor shot, this is a way to, I'm just kidding. But, you know, this one's got 10 shells.
Magazine options. One thing to note on this short one, guys, it's built into the receiver, your bases. You're not screwing them down. So for the tactical shooter, high volume shooter, I had a couple guys call me recently when these are hard to get. They found out I had them. I have a sale price, too low to show. You got to call me to find out what that is. Hit me on the 800 number tomorrow. I'll get you that price. A lot stiffer. So if you're going to beat that thing around in your truck, I can see that you have lots of stuff strapped on it. Having these bases up here is fantastic, and only dealing with an 18-inch barrel is fantastic. Tough one to get. We've got them here. Give us a call on that one.
It's a big deal with the hog hunters too. If you do any of that, it's pretty awesome.
We're going to Texas now that you mention it. Before we get too far off of BAR,
yep,
we do have the classics. Jeff Arnold will be proud. We keep the 2s in. If they still built 1s, we bring those in. One that we have on special, we've even still have the Boss ones, specifically in 300 Win Mag Gil. We got these down at $12.59 at the moment.
You know, that gun is amazing. I owned one personally. I shot it for years. The recoil reduction on that Boss system is absolutely incredible, and it is an accurizer, and it actually works very, very well. When you shoot, your barrel actually wobbles, and if you catch it at one side of the wobble or the other side, that's where you get the same hole accuracy. With a Boss system, you can change your barrel to figure out exactly the harmonics that are perfect for the bullet you're shooting. Instead of having to reload to get the perfect load where you have the best group, that Boss system actually works very, very well. It's loud, you know, it's loud. So, but there is there's a standard recoil. It's threaded. You can get the CR, the conventional thing to hunt with, which is the same, you know, same as.
We've got them in stock. For all the traditionalists, give us a shout. We'll get you one set up. I know one that Todd had. This is another one that When we get into the Eclipse series, have always been kind of like an Eclipse. You don't come by them all that often. Browning doesn't build a pile of these. Beautiful gun. I love this laminate stock. $1,100. I believe you're down to $989, and this is the Hunter.
Yeah, and it is, you know, for you thumb hole enthusiasts, obviously the thumb hole is just so comfortable. Does take the recoil out of it because your hand is in that deal. So, and the laminate stock is actually, laminate stocks are, in theory, they're more, you know, they're less brittle, if you will, or they're more durable, and you know, they're beautiful. Free laminate thumb hole is pretty awesome.
Eclipse Hunters in stock, 30-06, 24-inch pipes, $989. Rice Creek price, $989.
Nice.
To jump back and forth on you, but we talked about the Max. We want to go back to X bolts. I did grab a couple of Pro Series, Gil, and I do get a lot of questions on why is the Pro different, because there's some dollar differences there, even from the Hell's Canyon mark. You want to hit on some of the Pro features? Yeah,
so the X-Bolt Pro is like, you know, maybe the holy grail, if you will. I mean, it basically, it's a Gen 2, second generation carbon fiber stock. And so there's different ways to make carbon fiber stock. Some people just basically glue two pieces of carbon fiber together. This is like without taking the barrel off and actually looking at it and understanding the process, you'd have to actually look at it online. But basically, carbon fiber is super, super lightweight, super, super rigid, and it looks awesome. So you're getting the very lightweight carbon fiber stock, which is, you know, indestructible and super, super rigid. That's a big deal. You're getting an extended bolt handle. It's knurled. You've got, it's like a knurled bolt there, right? There's actually a term for it. I forgot what the term is, but it's really, really cool. Of course, you've got, what's it?
Spiral fluted.
Spiral fluted. Say that 3 times fast. You got the muzzle brake, of course, the Cerakote, you know, and the fluting. But this thing, you know, it's got all X-Bolt features plus a bunch more. Biggest price difference is the lightweight and the carbon fiber.
Carbon stock.
Yeah.
Is a big one. Carbon stock is a big one.
And you guys have a pretty good pile.
Hell's Canyons, I know I had a question. The Hell's Canyons, I know, come with the threaded cap.
Yep.
And I assume that the Pro Series come with a matching threaded cap as well, so you can remove your muzzle brake.
That's correct. Yep.
So if you're not into the noisemaker, use it at the range, pile that thing off, put your cap on, keep rolling, save your ears. 2 colors, I've got the gray and the bronze in stock.
Sweet.
Should we do a pretty one, Gilman? I got a pretty one.
Oh yeah, man.
This is everybody's favorite.
All right.
Quite a few of these.
You know,
the X-Bolt white gold.
There isn't.
You have one too.
There is not a prettier gun in the world. I really believe that. You know, this is a white gold X-Bolt. So you've got a high grade wood, you know, a grade 4 or 5 walnut, the real cut checkering. You know, it's a brushed gloss kind of stainless steel. You know, you've got the deep engraved with some gold embellishing here. So it's a very, very pretty gun. The rosewood caps here, which are rosewood's really hard to come by, but it really offsets that stock. You've got a Monte Carlo stock, which takes your head up where the scope is. But man, as far as like a family heirloom or a retirement gift, or if you're just a fan of really beautiful guns, this is what's for you.
That's definitely a winner. We would have had a few of these at Rice Creek, as we don't, Browning doesn't send a pile of these. We'd have got you right down, $1,400 down to about $1,205. So if all those guys out there who like the aesthetically pleasing wood stocks, give us a shout. We'll run through some calibers available.
There was one question on that, Aaron, in that walnut. Somebody just sent it at in 308. You think we have that in 308, or you just want to get back to them tomorrow?
I better double check. As fast as things are going right now, I saw my inventory this morning, and by now it's definitely changed. But I would love the opportunity to double check for them.
Okay. So Lois, I have your information, and I'll relay it to Aaron, and we'll follow up with you tomorrow. Once lights are on and things are happening, we'll validate that we've got the 308 options for you in the X-Bolt. So thanks for sending that in.
Nice.
Gotcha. So probably about this time to open up for some questions.
Yeah, we're hitting that.
Got time for.
We're hitting that half an hour mark. So let's, what we're going to do technically on the Zoom side is we are going to unmute everybody. So if you've got some background noise, we might mute you again or mute yourself, and then we'll see if anybody's got any questions. Otherwise, Aaron's got some more to talk about as well. So the whole crew should find themselves unmuted right now and see if anybody's got any questions.
Pretty good job covering the features.
That happens a lot with the ability to chat, Gil. Often it's nice people send in their notes as we're going along that we kind of bump into. So.
Or Gil, we put him to sleep.
Yeah,
I've got one.
likely. Yeah.
Got one question. And so your locations are closed. So as far as making a purchase, how do you go about buying guns now with your closed?
So we're having the most success with where all of these prices include shipping. Smaller gun dealers and some of the bigger ones who are mostly guns are finding it easier to get around that essential business law and be open. So we're shipping them as fast as we possibly can. So if you have an FFL dealer that is open, anybody that deals with a gun. Other than that, we're taking money down and holding on to the gun for as long as it takes for this horribleness to go away, and then you can come and pick up at that time, holding your sale price and holding your gun that way.
And we will be able to close out the receipt and take full payment on it before the rebate ends on Sunday, and have a pickup after. We fully expect to be open once the governor's executive order ends on May 4th. So anytime thereafter, if it is something where it's better and faster and easier to come on up, then we can accessorize your gun and everything else once you're in the store. So we would still be able to make sure you got the benefit of the tax 8% rebate as well.
So is it best just to go online, fill out any forms, any paperwork that's needed as far as the purchase goes, or just call you sometime this
No,
week?
it's honestly with the make and models and the speed at which the internet's going, we're bogged out. Give us a shout, man. We'll get you service twice as fast that way.
Okay.
I got a question. I'm looking at one of the X bolts, and either the stainless stalker or the white gold or the Eclipse Hunter is, I think all the X bolts are fairly similar. Does the stock make a difference as far as accuracy? Is any one of them? I mean, what should you look for if you want real accurate gun without going to the pro?
Yeah, to be
So
honest,
without going to the pro and noted, all of the X bolts, Browning has taken the time to square that gun in the stock and bed it. So well, obviously, everything being equal, they're all going to shoot amazing. The only advantage to going to the synthetic stock is you're not going to be dealing with the wood warping or changing with temperature and moisture in the air.
it's definitely a personal preference. If you like the thumb hole stock, they are awesome. I have them personally. I love it. But I will say, the stainless stalkers have slowed down a little bit simply because the Cerakote guns are only like $30 more. So I would look at the price also. It might help you with your decision. If you don't, you're either it's a looks, to go to like a walnut. If you're a wood guy, there's, if you like the prettiness and the, wood is warmer on your hands, but it's a tough choice. It's a tough.
If you nick the Cerakote hard enough, can you chip a piece of the Cerakote off?
I've never seen it. I've never seen that.
It literally takes a steel on steel contact with a fairly sharp edge to make that happen. If you were on a moose hunt and you had the gun standing up and down and you dropped it and it went from center all the way to the boat gunnel and bounced on the boat gunnel, you would have a mark. I don't think you'd see a chip come out of it, but you would score it. But it would take that, it would be that kind of extreme to get it to mark.
I thought I'd mention, Aaron, in between questions, we do have accessories also. And on a lot of there is a trend right now to long range shooting. A lot of people are going with a one-piece mount, a Picatinny rail on top there. It allows you to put that scope exactly perfect and exactly level and mount the scope perfectly, so it's just a little more solid way to mount the scope and get it just perfectly mounted to where your eye relief is perfect. So we are selling quite a few of the Picatinny rails and versus like the traditional X bolt. This is a very lightweight, but very solid mount for the X bolts, but there are some accessories that sell really well with the guns.
I have some of those, Gil, and I also have a good supply of magazines. So if you guys are previous owners or about to be a new owner, 2 is 1 and 1 is done. I lose my truck keys and my magazines. Ask my wife. I've got those extra.
The magazines. Were they out long? Magazines. Are they out long?
Oh, I thought they were talking to me. All right, so everybody that kind of made it to the end here, I'm about to probably get myself in a little bit of trouble with the guy who signs my paychecks, but you made it to the end. So any of this stuff, you have to call in for these. 10% off the ammo, that's a good deal. I want to give you 30% off the accessories, gun cases, slings, and cleaning kits. That's a better deal. And here's the one that's going to get me hung. Call me on Vortex Optics, one of our best partners, one of our best optics company. With the purchase of a Browning centerfire rifle, I want to get you 20% off of that. And if you want it shipped that way, I'm going to get you a deal on a hard case to get it shipped out of here so it doesn't add any cost to your shipping. So you're basically all set up and ready to go with everything you'll need to get out in the backyard. And if your ranges are open locally, we'd love to see you out there and hear some stories. Show us
Okay,
some
good. One more question.
Yeah.
And 30% off accessories.
A question about calibers, like the 243 is at a 22 inch and a 25-06 is in a 24 inch, and then like a 300 and a 26 inch. Is there any more accuracy, advantage by having the longer barrel? Can it be just as good with the 22 inch on a 243 caliber?
What you're experiencing there, you see these factories with certain barrel lengths, it's your powder burn rate. So every gun will reach maximum velocity in a certain amount of barrel. A 243 up to 22 inches. After 22 inches, you're only going to gain about 11 feet per second per inch. So it's really a waste of steel, space, and weight. When you get to a big 300 Win Mag, much slower burning powder, now from 24 inches and beyond, you're seeing 27 feet per second, 25 feet per second per inch, up to about 26. So what Browning is doing is optimizing the barrel length to these factory loads and speeds that you really want to have. Having a 300 Win Mag and a 20-inch barrel, you might as well have bought a 308. So if that kind of helps give you an idea of this barrel, it's not accuracy, it's really optimizing the burn rate in the caliber you're purchasing.
Yeah, and a little more to add. That was a very good explanation, Aaron. That's incredible. Really, really well done. There is like twist rate factors that stabilize the bullet. And so every single caliber is tested perfectly. And for every, there's a twist rate calibration there that how many inches each, I don't know, it's kind of hard to explain. It's how many twists per inch in your barrel. So, obviously depending on the caliber and the velocity of the bullet and what the bullet, how long that bullet is, Browning changes the twist rate depending on caliber to ensure every gun is very, very accurate. So there really is not a huge accuracy difference.
Thanks.
No problem. Is that it? Did we cover everybody's questions?
Troy, does that cover what you were looking for? We'll take that as affirmative. I know that there are a few other chats coming through here with pricing and such, and what we'll do with those, so everybody hears it, and we all know how we're going to proceed from here, just because we're kind of getting to the tail end of the day, is we will follow up with you tomorrow on any of the chat questions. Thank you for jumping in. I know Aaron was talking about some verbal deals. We can't stress enough that the only way we can do this, and thank you for jumping on the Zoom session in lieu of having the real thing in the booth, is to do this over the phone. If you have questions specifically, give us a call tomorrow. Or you can also shoot an email to hunting@reedsports.com. That's hunting@reedsports.com, and we can jump in and follow up from you after that. The main thing is, and I think the Sunday is the day. We've got a grace period because of when the gun fair was going to occur with the Browning rebate to get that extra 8% on top of all the prices that Aaron was quoting for those feature guns. Plus, and to answer the question about shop on the website, you can use that Gun Fair 2020 coupon code to kind of check pricing on some other guns that we're not featuring here, or just give us a call on specific ones you're looking for. But in addition to that, you will get your 8% rebate. As long as we close the deal and can get things wrapped up by Sunday, that will still apply. The bonus on the accessories and the bonus on the optics from Vortex, especially in the ammo, we kind of all got to do that in the same purchase at the same time. So definitely take your time. And like Gil, you had a great point with the magazines and with different ways we can mount the scopes. Talking through that on the phone is going to be the best. We can kind of talk about color matching, if it's available or not, and as you're picking out that optics, we can start to hand pick and hand select what rings and base we put on there, the slings and everything else. And we'll really custom build the gun in the order as we're walking through it together with you. So everybody's ready to go. As Gil keeps mentioning, we had the guns ready to go for the gun fair. So I think we're combining what we can do electronically here with the Zoom session, albeit informal, and all working and learning together through this process. We're getting as close as we can to shooting together and getting the deals done together at the same time. So, hey, thanks for everybody for jumping on the call. We've kind of hit our limit on time, so we make sure everybody can enjoy it. This session will be recorded and we will put it on our YouTube channel. And so as doing that, that'll be a couple days out, but we'll also have it on our website. So if you do want to mention it to a friend or share it, once you see it, or actually replay it and get through some of this, because you guys are covering some really good nuances, especially for as many people are interested in the X-Bolt. Check that out on our YouTube channel, on our website. If you have some feedback and ideas on how we can do this better, let us know. But even better, if you did like what you saw, shoot us a review or mention it on Facebook and like it. And look forward to having the real thing happen next year at Rice Creek. But in the meantime, let's get some deals done while these guns are here and available and the rebate's still on. So thanks everybody for joining. Gil, beautiful job. Anything else that we should close with? We got her covered, buddy.
Be safe, you guys. Thank you.
You bet. Take care. Thanks, everybody.